Hello, Bluff Park United Methodist Church. My name is Kevin Payne. I'm the senior pastor here in our congregation, and I just wanted to take this time to share some information with you concerning General Conference 2024, discernment and disaffiliation processes that you may have heard about, and maybe help to clear up either some confusion or some misinformation so that we can all know what's going on and what we can actually factually know right now in this moment. You may have heard of congregations across our North Alabama Conference and some of our brother and sister congregations around the Birmingham area that are in some sort of either discernment or disaffiliation process. Now, one thing we need to understand is this video is not meant to be a critique or instruction on why other congregations are doing or not doing or whatever processes they are following. This is a very difficult time. It's a very confusing time. And every congregation and pastor is trying to figure this out the best way we can. This information is specifically for Bluff Park, what we are doing and why we are doing it. Part of the reasons, though, why there may be some congregations that are in a discernment process is because they have been in this discernment process since 2022. When General Conference was first rescheduled from 2020 to 2022 due to the worldwide pandemic of COVID, there were several congregations that put discernment teams together in preparation for that expected 2022 General Conference. The reason why General Conference was postponed again from 2022 to 2024 was because coming out of the global pandemic with travel restrictions, some of our international delegates, some of our brothers and sisters that live in other countries across this world who are duly elected to come as a delegate of their conferences to General Conference, were told that in order to secure a work visa, that it was a 650-day lead time at least. That means from the moment that they dropped their applications for their work visas, it would be at least 650 days before their applications were considered. Well, that means that if they were trying to drop applications as soon as travel restrictions started to ease at the end of 2021 and the beginning of 2022, there was no way they were going to get those work visas secured by August and September of 2022 when General Conference was originally rescheduled. It also meant that trying to have General Conference in 2023 could run into the same issue for our international delegates. Further, since there's no provision in the current discipline that allows for General Conference to be canceled because of a worldwide pandemic, because hey, we were all trying to figure that out the best we could as we were going through it. I know you remember. General Conference would still need to be held in 2024 to keep the requirements of the discipline, our church bylaws, our denominational bylaws, satisfied for any legalities that needed to go on. So the decision was made by our Council of Bishops and by our General Conference planning team, that is a general agency of the church, to just postpone General Conference until end of August, 1st of September, 2024. Now, this is part of where some of this confusion comes in, because we had a called General Conference back in 2019 that was supposed to help set up discussions concerning human sexuality for our 2020 General Conference, which of course, like we've talked about, didn't happen because of COVID, got rescheduled to 2022, and now is rescheduled to 2024. As a part of that called General Conference in 2019, there was an addendum that was pushed out that said congregations who wish to leave the United Methodist Church should make that decision by December the 31st, 2023. Well, that addendum was contingent upon General Conference occurring in 2020. When General Conference couldn't occur in 2020, and then again couldn't occur in 2022, and then got rescheduled to 2024, then the requirements of that addendum actually died. They ceased to be, because you cannot require a congregation to make a decision about information that comes from a General Conference if the General Conference has not met to provide such information. So the addendum that said December 31st, 2023 for congregations to make a decision, that no longer has any bearing. In fact, our North Alabama Conference 3 Team, NAC3 Team, has issued a statement concerning this specifically. We will put a link to that statement in the description of this video so that you can click on that link and go to our North Alabama Conference website and read that statement in its entirety for yourself. But the general gist of that statement is that our bishop has said that regardless of what occurs in 2024, congregations' understandings will be considered when making appointments, that congregations will have the opportunity to enter into discernment or disaffiliation following the 2024 General Conference once we actually know what is coming out of General Conference and can make that decision. And congregations who do decide to disaffiliate can do so without any type of punitive actions by the annual conference. There could still be cost involved concerning benefits packages with pensions for retired clergy, some of the similar things that are going on now. But there would be nothing punitive. No congregation would be punished because they sought to leave the annual conference as a result of any actions by the 2024 General Conference. And that this promise, this understanding is not dependent upon who the bishop is at the time of General Conference in 2024, but it's a part of conference trustee policy. So, in other words, any congregations who want to wait until 2024 in order to hear exactly what is going on with General Conference can do so without fear that they're missing something or that they're late or that we should have already been in this process. That's part of another thing that's an issue, is that there's misunderstandings about what General Conference is. General Conference is a legislative body that really does not exist when the General Conference is not in session. A big difference for this is we have members to our annual conference, but we elect delegates to represent us to go to General Conference. There's no such thing as a member of General Conference per se. These general agencies of our church, the missions, the ministries, the programs of our general denomination are empowered after giving reports at each quadrennial meeting of the General Conference to continue their work for another 4 years. And those general agencies, of course, exist. But the legislative body of General Conference does not exist until they come together in session. Why is this important? Because regardless of what we hear about what possible petitions or resolutions could go before the General Conference, we will not know exactly what does go before General Conference until General Conference delegates actually all get in the room together and begin to meet. There is no way to know at this point in time what petitions or resolutions will make it out of committee onto the floor of General Conference for discussion. Once on the floor of General Conference, we have no way of knowing right now what petitions or resolutions will be adopted or will be defeated, or how they will be amended or modified or changed or substituted or combined or sent back to a committee for revision. There's many different actions that can be taken on the floor of General Conference for any petition or resolution that comes to the body for consideration. And all of that is dependent upon the conversation that occurs in the room with the delegates at General Conference. So the moment we start talking about what we think is going to happen at General Conference, or the moment that we start to wonder, could this occur at General Conference, is the moment that we start speculating. And unfortunately, in all facets of folks who have been writing about and talking about events of General Conference, there's this fine line that tends to get blurred between this is what we know for fact and this is what is speculation. One of the promises I have made to our church council, and a promise that I am making to you, is that I will not engage in any form of speculation. I will only share what is known facts concerning anything that's coming up with General Conference. So if you're wondering why we haven't pushed out a lot of information about what's going on, it's just that. General Conference hasn't met yet. As of this moment, General Conference could not change anything with our current discipline. If things were to change with our current discipline, we have no way of knowing what exactly would change, what that wording would be, and what implications that would mean to our congregation. We are going to wait until after General Conference meets in 2024, and we actually have the report from General Conference that says exactly what actions General Conference has taken. And then we will know, because we will be dealing with facts, not speculation. And that understanding, in early 2024, We will put together a discernment team in order to be prepared for when General Conference meets towards the end of August, 1st of September in 2024. The discernment team's role is going to be to help us understand what is going before General Conference, because by then we should have an idea as to what petitions are being considered. They will then help us to understand what actions come from General Conference without bias or prejudice trying to guide in any single direction, simply to help us all understand exactly what has occurred and what that means. We will then host listening sessions, times for conversation, town hall meetings, whatever you want to call them, where all members of the church will be invited to come, to hear, to ask questions, so that you can fully have all of the information that you need to make a prayerful decision. And then we'll hold a church conference where every member of the church is invited to come with voice and vote in order for us to prayerfully consider our response and our way forward. This will all be in 2024, after General Conference meets, after we know exactly what is occurring as a result of the General Conference meeting. We're not behind in anything. There's really nothing that we can truly, factually know in this moment other than the fact that General Conference is scheduled to meet in the latter part of 2024, that they will receive many petitions and resolutions about a great number of things, and more than likely, at least some of them is going to concern human sexuality and our current understandings. Until General Conference meets, though, we have no way of knowing anything beyond that. What that means for us right now is that Bluff Park United Methodist Church is committed to upholding the current book of discipline and all of its theological precepts and standards. We will continue to operate underneath that book of discipline until General Conference meets in 2024, and then as a congregation, we make a decision about the direction we are going to go forward. Myself, Ross, or Stanley will not be divulging anything about our personal feelings towards this. We're not doing this in order to avoid a confrontation. We're doing this because we are committed to helping you get the information that you need to make a decision without us influencing you in any way of bias. We want us all to be able to have all of the facts and prayerfully make a decision as we earnestly feel led of the Holy Spirit. We will have time after General Conference to have these conversations and to make this decision. In the meantime, there are things that are impacting our congregation right here and right now. We have so many ministries and missions that go beyond our church doors, that reach our community and beyond to the world. We have several things that we are doing that you hear about every single week in terms of discipleship and trying to help people grow in their faith. We're seeking to engage in a capital campaign where we can be completely out of debt in the next 3 years that frees up funds for more ministry and more mission work in our community, within our congregation, and to those who we know and love and our neighbors that we haven't met yet, right outside the doors of this congregation. So what we're asking for is, while this is important, and yes, we do covet your prayers, but let's wait until we actually know what comes out of General Conference in 2024 before we start trying to make decisions. We don't want to make any decisions based on any speculation, which is all we have in front of us right now. And let's currently keep our focus on what is truly important right here and right now. Bluff Park United Methodist Church wants to be a congregation that reaches our community and our world with the love of Jesus Christ. We want to see people who are broken and far away from God find wholeness and healing in the name of Jesus Christ and be brought into the family of God through the grace and love of Christ. We want to be a beacon on the hill. And that's what we're going to keep our focus on for now. When 2024 comes, we will have these conversations openly, honestly, and in the grace and love of God. We will deal with facts, not fear or speculation. We will continue to be who God is calling us and creating us to be. Thank you for your time. May God bless you, and may we continue to be a blessing to the world in His name. We'll see you soon.